Today, I'm not going to do a video on racing, but I'm going to do a video on car manufacturers. I'm going to rank them from best to worst and see which ones I think are the best and the worst. So let's go. Here you can see we are on tier maker and we have all the tiers and all of these car brands. If there are any ones which you don't see here, just comment it down below and I'll give my comments on it. But the tiers for today are God tier, very good, good, alright, wouldn't recommend and do not buy. And obviously we haven't heard of it because I just skimmed through all of these and there are a few which I don't fully recognize. But let's go and let's start with Fiat. And if you don't know, I'm going to give a bit of my the knowledge I have on these car brands. So Fiat, from what I know, are a Italian car manufacturer, temporarily owned Ferrari, I believe it was, and they have made some iconic cars like the Fiat 500. But now currently I don't hear a lot about them. I only mainly hear about the cars made with a bath, but I feel like they're good. They have a rich history, but currently they're probably not the best. So then we go to Alfa Romeo, which also has a rich Italian history, and they make quite interesting cars. They are a title sponsor of Sauber F1 team, which is Alfa Romeo Orlen, which has been bought out by Audi, which is quite interesting. But the thing with Alfa Romeo, from what I hear, is what I've heard, is that their reliability isn't the best. And obviously, I don't know, it's Italian maybe, so it looks a bit like Ferraris. But yeah, I feel like they're alright. I've heard both positive things and bad things about them, and I feel like they're quite alright. Then we have Acura, which, if you don't know, for my Europeans, is the American sports car manufacturer owned by Honda. So all like the Honda NSXs in Europe are Acura NSX, and they release it. They currently race in IMSA in the GTP class, and I believe the GT3 cars from Honda are Acuras. But I haven't heard a lot from them because I'm European. But I wouldn't put it in haven't heard of it because I have. And because the Honda, I would say this alright. Because, what's it called? They make some interesting cars, or Honda, I should say, the performance. And Acura just is badging them for the American market. So I feel like they're quite interesting. Then we come into Citroën. They have had quite a rich motorsport history with competing with Loeb in the top class of the WRC's, World Rally Championship. But currently they race, I think, R5 rally cars they're called, so a bit like GT3s. So like their regulated series, which a lot of car manufacturers are in, and they race all around the world. And then if you look at the cars, they have the C4 Cactus, and they have like the C3s. Those are the only ones I can remember, but I've been in a few of them. I feel like they're quite alright too. And I would say, also just to comment that this order, which I put them here, is the order I prefer. And I feel like Citroën is quite good. Not as good as these, but I still feel like they're quite alright. They come into Chevrolet, which, if we talk about history, they have quite a rich history too. They are one of the oldest, I believe, American car manufacturers, and they are part of GM, which I believe has become a part of Stellantis, maybe. I'm not fully sure. But I liked the Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 when I was young in Motorsport 5. Well, I'm still young, but when I was a lot younger. And they make quite interesting cars. But like the Camaro too, but from what I hear from my father and from other people, yeah, they are quite alright. I would put them above Citroën because they make a few performance cars, but they make American muscle cars, which I'm not fully fond of. And from what I hear is that they're like American quality, that they're cheap and they're not fully made to last, from what I've heard. So I feel like they're quite alright. Then we come into Saleen. And I don't know much about Celine, or if that's how they're pronounced, but they have a car they have a lot of in which they have in Forza and all of the motorsport games. You have Sims. You have it in Race Room. I know. Don't think that you have it in my favorite Automobilista too, but still, they are very good. I think they're car manufacturer, but I haven't heard a lot about them. So I would say wouldn't recommend because I don't know a lot about them, but I wouldn't say don't buy it, but alright, I don't know too much about them to put them in. Right. Then we come to Volkswagen. So if you don't know, they're from, I believe it's the 30s or 40s, invented in Germany by the then current German leader. I won't talk about him because it might get bit what's it called with YouTube. If you know, you know. But yeah, I feel like they're obviously very iconic with the Volkswagen Beetle. Then they have also the Volkswagen, what's it called? The Volkswagen minibus with all the hippies, and they're quite famous. But then you also have Dieselgate, which happened. Even though a few videos what I watched, they were the bad ones. But then a lot of other companies also had things with it. But obviously, companies want to make money, so they're trying to do some things. But yeah, I feel like they're quite an interesting car brand. But the thing is, I'm currently trying to get my driving license. I've driven the ID3 and I've driven the Golf GTI, and they're quite alright, but I would say they're over these because Volkswagen, I would say, or maybe, yeah, it's top of alright. I would say here, better than Fiat actually. Because they make quite good cars and they're very famous and they have a rich history with making good cars. So as you see, yeah, I feel like Fiat, they were a bit like Volkswagen going neck and neck, but then Fiat have fallen off a bit, in my opinion. And I don't see as many of their cars. You mainly see newer versions of the Fiat 500. Whilst Volkswagen, you see a wide range of vehicles, and yeah, I feel like they're very good. Oldsmobile, haven't heard of them. Haven't heard of it. I haven't heard of it. Then you have Honda, where I've already talked about Acura, and I would say Honda are good. We put them in front of Fiat because, as all of those, they have a rich history, but they don't make sort of cars I prefer. I would say the modern ones, like I can only name the Honda Accord, I think this. You have the Honda NXS. You have a few cars, and you have the Honda Civics. Yeah, I remember my aunt had one of those. But still, I would say, yeah, not on par with Volkswagen. Maybe a bit of Europe bias there. But I would still say they're quite a good car company and they make a few interesting cars, but I feel like their history puts it on good, but their current things put it above Fiat. Then we go to maybe a controversial one. I would put them in good. Obviously, we can't deny how much they have done for the car market, and obviously we have Enzo Ferrari. If you give ask a kid to paint the car, you paint it red from Ferrari, and obviously they have a rich history in Formula One, even though they've not won a lot. I can't complain on my Mercedes one, but yeah, I feel like they would be up here very good and maybe gold tier, but from all I've heard with trying to deal with Ferrari, it feels like from what I've heard, this is my depiction. You walk into the dealership, and you say, "Oh, I want to buy that. What's modern? I want to buy that Ferrari SF90." But then whatever car they are selling currently, like the SUV, But then the Ferrari executive says, no, you have to buy these old cars, then you have the chance to buy this new car. You can't just come in with money. Most a lot of the car brands say like, usually, oh, you can come in buy this car if we have in stock, and then you build up a relationship, then you get to buy new cars. What's it called? Unreleased cars. What's Ferraris? You have this new car in the market? No, you have to buy this. And from what I've heard with Jay Leno, it's like, I help you if you help me. So it's a bit like that. Then we come into, but also we can't deny the history. That's why they are in front of Volkswagen a lot of these. Then we have I think they're based in the UAW Motors. I would instantly put them in do not buy because I've seen a lot of things. I've seen actually not a lot. I've seen a video from Donut Media where they talked about W Motors, where they made a W Motors. I don't remember the car's name, was in a Fast and Furious. Don't like those movies, come at me. But then apparently these 7 cars, they were not so mechanically based. The guy who founded it was liked he liked design. It was more, I think it was like a designer of clothes or something like that. It wasn't an engineer, let's say, and he was more thinking about how it looks and not how it actually feels. So it's a bit halfway with Ferrari, but apparently I haven't heard if their cars have shipped or anything. Don't know if they have any new cars on there, but I would still say do not buy them, because Celine, I don't know a lot about neither W Motors, but from the Celine cars, what I've tested, I feel like they're good. Even though W Motors are in Forza, one of the Forzas. Then you have Hennessy. They've come with the Hennessy Venom GT. I think they've also done a few things with Chevrolet, one of those car brands. They've also tried to break a few car land speed records, top speed for production cars, but I would say they are I wouldn't say they're good, because from what my knowledge, they don't have a lot of history. And alright, I would put them low end, alright, because pickup trucks, not my thing, and if they're badged with Hennessy, I don't know if they're actually made by Hennessy, but I think they are, or like in a collaboration. And their high speed cars, well, they didn't get the land speed record, because there are 2 brands which are, let's say, better than them. I would say quicker. You will see a bit of bias coming later, but obviously everybody's biased. Then you have Renault. They have obviously the Renault Clio, the Renault Megane, the Renault Zoe. They have and the Renault Twizy, the most iconic and best car. They have also a rich history. They are French, if you didn't know. And yeah, they're big car manufacturer in the European market, I would say. And with their rich history and with their involvement in F1 and other motorsports, I would say alright. I would put them in alright, because they have quite a good rich history. I would say better than these. But still, they're not on Fiat's level of history, in my opinion. And they make boring cars, in my opinion. They make they're not that interesting. Even though the Alpine line is quite interesting, but you have the Alpine A110, which is the same model since the olden days. It's a bit like a more boring version of a Porsche 911, but a sportier version of a Volkswagen Golf. We will speak about the history. They have Plymouth. I feel like they will put here because, or maybe, let's put them here because Hennessy doesn't have a lot of history. Plymouth, I know. I think it's called the Superbird or something. The car with the humongous rear wing. Superbird Daytona or something like that, which was, I think it was a NASCAR, a stock car, which was very interesting to see in videos of. I don't know how much they actually do nowadays, but yeah, I feel like they're there. Then you have Rolls-Royce. British car manufacturer making quite expensive cars, very customizable. So if you don't know the experience with what's it called with Rolls Royce, they give you what's it called a chassis, and that's about it. So, or I should explain a bit more. They tell you like the chassis of a what Rolls Royce. I don't remember any names of a Rolls Royce, but they give you the chassis. You can change basically everything on it. You have, well, basically the colors, the inside, everything. I don't know if you can change like the amount of seats, but it's very customizable. But certain things I feel like are a bit artificial to make it more expensive because they have like a Rolls-Royce certified painter. Only one painter can paint certain straight lines on the car, even though a lot of, I would believe, professional painters can actually paint straight lines. So I feel like it's artificially, what's it called, expensive in certain things, but they make quite interesting cars. I've seen a few here in Stockholm. I would put I would put them in front of there, but or yeah, put them in front of here because they also have a Richie stand they make, and there you have the Rolls Royce, what you call airplane engine. So you don't know if it's currently owned by by Rolls Royce cars, but yeah, I would still like them, and I think they might be owned by BMW. I'm not sure. Y'all have to fact check me on that. Yeah. Then we go to what I believe is Mazda. Yeah, I don't see any Mazda there. But yeah, Mazda. They obviously have the Mazda MX-5, which is an iconic GDM car with rotors and everything. Currently doesn't have rotors due to the bad reliability. Then you have, what other cars do they have? They also have the Mazda 787B, which raced at Le Mans. Don't think they do a ton of motorsport. Maybe they have like a few motorsport series. I think there's like a Formula car in iRacing, but I would still say they're quite alright. Now, where to put them? They have obviously rich history, so I think they knock out Hennessy. They make interesting cars. I know more about them than Plymouth. Make interesting cars better than Citroen, in my opinion. And Mazda, I would put them at the top of alright because they make more interesting cars, or are made, in my opinion, than Renault. And yeah, that's it. Infinity, I have seen a few cars of. I would say, don't know a lot about them. I think they sponsored Red Bull in the early 2000s, in the early 2010s. When Vettel was there, I would say alright. I've seen their cars, so they go over Hennessy and Plymouth. So yeah, I feel like they are also part of what's it called, the Stellantis group, which if you don't know, Stellantis is this humongous humongous like Volkswagen group basically, but a lot more brands. Then we come to Ram, who make pickup trucks, which, as you have seen, I'm not so interested in. I don't know if they make any other, or if this might be Dodge. I'm not sure. Let us just see. Okay, so this is Ram, but I aren't like Dodge Ram. I don't know, but yeah, they are pickup trucks. I would say wouldn't recommend, but I know more about them than Celine. So yeah, I would put them there because yeah, I don't like pickup trucks. Then we come into Kia. I think they're South Korean. They make quite interesting cars. Don't know how rich motorsport history they have. I think they have a new logo, and their cars look actually quite futuristic. So I feel like I should put them in alright, but where do we put them? I feel like we might put them. Let's put them underneath there because I don't know how many performance cars they make. And Acura is, in my opinion, better. Then we come to Maserati, which from the what's it called? Top Gear show from Top Gear when Jeremy Clarkson was there. I think he said that they are not so good reliability. They look quite alright, but I don't have a ton of knowledge on them. But they still look quite interesting. I would put them in, wouldn't recommend, but from what I've heard with the bad reliability, I would put them behind RAM, because at least from what I've heard, RAM are better. Or no, not better, but better reliability. And speaking of what I've heard is from reliability, Porsche. Well, a few of our family friends have a Porsche Carrera, I think it is, or Panamera, and they have had a few issues with theirs, but from what I've heard from a lot of Porsche lovers, that the cars are very reliable. But from this outside source, I feel like they are quite in the reliability source. I've not don't know so much. They're the true owners of the Volkswagen Group, if you read, because Volkswagen owns Porsche cars, but Porsche AG, their what's it called, stock company, or their incorporations, is the true owner of Volkswagen Group, and then Porsche is 50% owned by the Porsche family, 100% voting rights, so they basically control. But then, yeah, I would put them, I'm not sure, very good or God tier. Let's put them in God tier, because they make very cool performance cars, are part of a ton of, what's it called, motorsports. And in my opinion, they make some of my, or they make some, or have made some of my favorite racing cars currently. And they're also the one car actually I prefer in GT3s. So if you see me racing GT3s in Automobilista 2, I will be choosing the Porsche, because that fits my driving style quite well, with the Boxer 6 or flat 6 car engine in the rear. Handle doesn't have a lot of oversteer, which I really like a lot. They have Hyundai. Don't know if they have a lot of history. I believe they're also South Korean. They have had Oliver Solberg, but then they kicked him, which made my opinion of them go a bit sour. But obviously, they're still good. They made very cool concept cars, and they're one of the main, what's it called, drivers of the hydrogen fuel cell car, which in my opinion is much better than lithium ion or electric battery vehicles. So if you want to see a video on that, I can do a video on it. But I would say they are not again. I would say they are very good, because they make like car. They also part of motorsport, as I said. They make very interesting cars, and yeah, are very good. I feel like now Ferrari, I feel like, is a bit too low. I would put them in very good, but yeah, very good due to their history and everything. But they're not God tier due to what's it called, how the reputation of buying a car. Then we come to, I don't have anything from them currently on me, but we have Mercedes-Benz. Obviously, we put them at the top of God tier, because obviously they are part of Formula One, and a lot of my father, my grandfather wanted Mercedes, and I see them quite a bit in Sweden. I feel like they're quite cool cars. They might not make as much performance cars as Porsche, but like Mercedes make cars which you can actually, which are not performance cars, which you might want sometimes. But they still also have a few bad points. I would say maybe they don't make the cheapest cars, but also have the first generation A-Class failed the Moose test and rolled, and it looks hideous. But still, I would say Mercedes are getting better in the performance with AMG, but still they don't have like a distinct performance car, which I would say is close relation to Porsche, because like you have the AMG GT, which is coming up now. Like they're trying to sell it more and more with the Black Series, but I don't think it was as quick as the GT2 RS from Porsche. But you have also the AMG one, but that just has an F1 engine, so yeah, obviously got here. TVR, haven't heard a lot from them, So let's put them there. I've seen a few things from them, but yeah, I don't have a lot of knowledge on them. They have Peugeot, who, wait, I thought, oh, that's Eagle. Yeah, Peugeot, they have my current favorite, LMH car, I think it is. Le Mans Hypercar with the Peugeot 9X8 with my favorite livery. It's a very nice livery. Their production cars are alright, but what's it called? Their Le Mans car pushes it up to quite high alright, I would say. It's better than Alfa Romeo. I would say if we put Renault there, I would say Peugeot. Yeah, Peugeot is in ahead of Rolls-Royce in my opinion. And then you have the Lancia. Oh, Lancia. Obviously, rich history in motorsport with rallying, where they made the what's it called, Lancia 037 Stratos, I think it was called. And they have winning with Voltorola and everything, which I feel like is a very cool car. I really like Lancia's history, but currently I don't feel like they make so good cars. I'm not sure, but it's sad to me to put them here, but I wouldn't recommend, because I feel like they have lost a bit of what's it called, of the heritage due to their what they're currently doing, but their old cars were awesome. So that's why maybe let's put them here. Let's put them here ahead of Hennessy and Plymouth. So yeah, Lancia, very good. They are Ford. They also make some quite interesting cars. You have the Ford GT, which I really like, but apparently they're not going to make anymore. Let's just put American there because I don't recognize it. Then what else do you have from Ford? You have the Ford G. You have what's it called? You have the Ford Mustang GT. You have a lot of what's it called, pickup trucks. Ford F-150. I think there's also the Ford 450. They have a lot of wider range of cars. I would say they're good, but wouldn't put them ahead of Fiat. Maybe a bit of what's it called, Europe bias, but I don't like pickup trucks and I don't like American muscle cars. I feel like they're not made for the European market, and I would say like during the current crisis with the prices of fuel, I don't feel like for muscle cars or pickup trucks would be the best options. Then you have Lexus, who made the Lexus LFA, one of the best sounding V10s. Then you also have LFAs, the Lexus LFA. Didn't I say that? But they have a lot of few interesting cars which I've seen around Stockholm and Sweden. But yeah, I would say they're quite alright. I would say they are maybe in tier with Citroen. No, I would say in front of Citroen, because I've not seen a lot from them. Then you have Lotus, who make quite interesting cars. They have obviously made the Lotus Evija, were a part of F1. They made, I think there's like the Lotus Evoque or something, which from the I've seen ads of in Tekniken Svärd, Swedish. If you have heard of the Moose Test, Tekniken Svärd. Otherwise, search up on the Moose Test. I think Driver 61 made an interesting video on it. But yeah, they've made a lot of interesting cars, especially their new hypercar, electric hypercar of 2,000 horsepower. Very interesting. And with their history, I feel like they go over all of these, or maybe not for, when I think about it, or actually, I feel like I have to rearrange it a bit. But yeah, I would say Lotus good here. The Volkswagen Mevo, or actually it's just the brand, not the company. Then you have Lotus here. I feel like I would put them here because I feel like they make performance cars and they're maybe not as they just make performance cars. Let's just say they have the Jag. They have obviously rich British history. They make a few interesting cars like the E-Type and the F-Type and the E-Pace and all of these. I feel like I think it was the E-Type, or no, the F-Type, which I really like the engine popping noise. Sounded like popcorn on it. And I would say, yeah, they're quite interesting. I would probably put them in good here. because I like their cars. They're quite interesting, and obviously a bit of Top Gear bias maybe. I would say they put them here. I would say Volkswagen might be a bit better due to also the IDR and just their involvement in everything, and the Jag being little. BAC. Obviously they have the BAC Mono. They have also a new BAC Mono Ultima or something, which I feel like is quite interesting. But they don't have a lot of history. They have like 2 car names or something. I would put them behind Lancia. Maybe let us just move Lancia up to here. Yeah, I feel like that looks good. Basically, I don't have a lot to talk about. Mercury, I've heard of them, but I don't know a lot about them. GMC, I feel like they're pickup trucks. And a bit like Ram, I would put them here because I think Rams are a bit cool actually. But to me, they look a bit the same. They have the Jeep, you have the Jeep Cherokee, you have the Jeep Wrangler. Yeah, very interesting cars from them, and obviously their military involvement with America. They make cool cars. Obviously, if you think like extreme off-road, you obviously think of Jeep. So I would put them, are they above all of those? I would say yes. I would put them in good. Then you have Audi, who make very interesting cars, but in my opinion, it's the worst of all German car manufacturers. The Audi R8 feels like just a person who wants to buy a Lamborghini but doesn't have like the facilities to buy one because it just uses the same engine, and they don't look that good, and I just feel like they're a little bit overrated. So I would put them probably in front of Renault. So yeah, they have BMW. They make some quite interesting cars. Don't like how they're heading currently with the kidney grills, so I would put them in good. I would say they're ahead of Volkswagen in my opinion because they make more sporty cars, but still BMW, quite good. Obviously, then you have Volvo, obvious God tier, safety, number 1, heritage, number 2, then you also have Swedish, number 3, owned by Geely, but yeah, I like what they're heading now, and they're making their car lineup a bit, bit like the big, like Mercedes. I can compare. They have Volvo and Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes have AMG, Volvo has Lynk & Co. Then Mercedes have their EQ lineup. Volvo has the Polestar. And obviously Volvo is a bit more minimalistic, so they're quite nice. But still, their performance cars, they haven't made one which can rival the Porsche in my opinion. They made the Lynk & Co 03, I think it was, but that's only a touring car. We need at least GT3 Volvo to make it more competitive. Buick, don't know a lot about them, I think it is. Shelby, obviously they have the Shelby Cobra and everything. Founded by Carroll Shelby, absolute legend in car manufacturing and in American car culture. So I would put them. Would I actually put them up in good? Are they better than all of those? No. Or at least maybe I think they make performance cars. I would put them here. Because they do, or maybe, I don't, Kia maybe should go down here behind Lexus. But then yeah, Shelby is very interesting. Bit better than Chevrolet due to their performance cars. And yeah, everything I like. Now we come to might be a very controversial opinion. Tesla. Don't buy. Easy answer. Bad build quality. Don't like what Elon Musk is doing currently with Tesla and with his other companies. They yeah, I just don't like the direction they're heading and how Elon Musk is running the company and what he's doing with the cars. You can't come at me on the only thing like they've done good, which I feel like is good, is they've made electric cars actually, what's it called, big. But certain opinions Elon Musk have, I don't fully agree with, and Teslas I would never buy. As easy as that, but they're still okay cars. But the things I would say that they're good with are just universal with electric cars. So let's just have it at that. Caterham, they obviously make a few race cars. Don't know a lot about them. They're very fun to drive, I can see, and I think I've driven one in Automobilista too. I feel like they're interesting. Yeah, we'll put them in front of BAC because yeah, they make quite interesting cars, and actually they have a bit more history than BAC. Bugatti, very good, I would say. They make quick cars. They don't make any cheaper cars, but obviously that's Bugatti's brand. They make interesting cars. That's about it. And they make quick ones. I would put them in. No Lotus in front. Bugatti gets to stay there. Holden, from what I've heard about them, they're quite good. You have the Holden Commodore, and I like their cars. I would also put them in very good. I would put them maybe there. From what I've heard about them. Toyota, very good. You have the Supra. Apparently, the new one is a lot to do with BMW. Don't know a lot about that, but yeah. Oh, let me just put Eagle there because I've never heard of them. But Toyota, yeah, I would put them in good probably. Don't know where they should be put. Probably, yeah, in front of Volkswagen due to their rich history and heritage. Then we come into Dodge. Dodge make American muscle cars, and I've already talked about me not liking them. So then let us see where to put them. Are they better than Chevrolet? No, I wouldn't say so. I would put them here. Easy, but no, that was Cadillac I was thinking of. Above, I would say they are like the new Fiats. Put them in all right. I would put let's put them here because they're a bit cheap Alfa Romeos, I would say, in my opinion, or I don't know. But yeah, I feel like they're just rebadged Fiats. Still good, obviously, because they're Fiats. Hummer, they make interesting cars, but they mostly make pickup trucks. So I would put them probably here because they still make off-road cars a bit like Jeeps. Pagani use Mercedes engines, very interesting. The cars are also quite interesting. Overall, I would say they're a good car brand. And yeah, Ariel, I loved them when I was small. No, when I was younger. And make very interesting cars. I would put them actually in very good. In front of Bugatti, in front of Lotus, I would say, probably in front of Holden, because I really like the interesting cars and their interesting philosophy. Mini, you have the Mini Cooper, which is basically all they sell. I would put it in good to their history. I would put it in front of those because I would actually prefer to own one of those rather than them. Probably in front of Ford too because I prefer Mini. Nissan, they make also very interesting cars. I would put them in, or maybe, they're like on par with Mazda maybe, but Mazda have the rotor engine. So I would say that the Mazdas are a bit better than Nissan. Then we go to Opel, which I believe was Spanish or something like that. There's some what's it called, Central to Western European car manufacturer. They make some alright cars. Where should we put them? Probably behind there, because the cars open. Oh, they're a bit like Vauxhall. They're like the European Vauxhall. That's it. I feel like there is good. Yeah, maybe Infinity we put down too. But I'm gonna redirect everything a bit later after I've done all of these. Subaru, WRX STI, currently not so good car company, but I would still say that they make good cars and have made good cars. Put them there. Lovely logo too. Yeah, I really like them. Land Rover, just a rich person's SUV, bit like the G63. I would say they're alright, but where should we put them? Let's put them in front of all of the... Let's put them here with Rolls-Royce, because they're quite decent. McLaren, they obviously make quite very good cars. They've made very good with the F1. They make the Senna, one of my... or a person or someone? No, I've seen a few McLarens. It was in the dealership in Stockholm. I would put them in good. Put them at the top of good, because from what I've heard is they have a few things with their manufacturing. One of my friends who likes cars says you have to pay to get gaps a bit smaller where there shouldn't be gaps. I think it's in the car, I'm not sure, so yeah, a bit sketchy. Saab, obviously god tier, behind Volvo, but Saab, Swedish buyers are god tier with Volvo, because with their history, their innovation, but obviously they have gone down because their owners have gone bankrupt. But I feel like they should just sell off Saab to a good car company, which will actually make use of the name. Lamborghini. Here we come with another controversial opinion. I prefer Lamborghini over Ferrari. But Ferrari have done more for the history of motorsport and cars in general, so that's why they're not there with Ferrari, in my opinion. And Lamborghini, they make obviously some interesting cars. You have the Centenario, you have the Aventador, you have the Veneno. Yeah, you have very interesting cars. Bentley, another rich person's car, but they make the Bentley Continental GT3, which I think is quite fun. They're further up, in my opinion, the Rolls-Royce and Land Rover. And yeah, they're good. Koenigsegg, then we have to put them up here with the with the trio of cars, Swedish cars, and they make obviously high performance cars. And why they are not better than Volvo? Probably because I've driven Volvos and not Koenigsegg. Saab because of their history, but Koenigsegg slowly will probably move up and be second. Lincoln, never heard of them. Chrysler, I've heard of them, but I don't know a lot about them, so I don't know a lot. Smart Car we have now. They're owned by Mercedes. They make quite interesting cars, but I would say they're all right. But yeah, I would put them here. Yeah, they make interesting cars. Cadillac, also right, but I would say here of all right, because they make interesting race cars, but it's just them who design it with Oreca, I think it's called, but they have race cars, but then their production cars do not look the same. Scion, I never heard of them. Aston Martin, I think they're good. Not on the level of McLaren, but I would say, are they better or worse than BMW? I would say better than BMW, because the Aston Martin design I like. Saturn, not heard so much. Pontiac, haven't heard so much. Suzuki, I've seen a few things like the Suzuki Swift, I think they have. But I would put here. Or maybe there. Mitsubishi, I've also heard about them, and obviously I would say they are better than Suzuki. So now we have done the tier list. Now let me just double check everything. So the list I showed you, I didn't change anything. So you see here I have all of these cars from alright to haven't heard of. They are from alright to God tier. And in God tier, I'm just name the 5 which are there: Mercedes, Porsche, Volvo, Saab, Koenigsegg. And that's that for today. So, if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more of this type of content, just hit the subscribe button down below. And my next video might be something interesting like this. Who knows? We'll see what happens then. But until then, I've been Racing Legend. You've been my amazing viewers. Thank you for watching. Good. Bye.